Welcome back to another episode of the WHIP Report. This is R. Gregorian, and in this lesson, I'll be covering the AR Aging Summary Report. As always, keep an eye out for the dates. We're assuming calendar year end 12/31/2022. Set that up, run the report, get this schedule here. This should look familiar. I'm sure you have this attached as a supplemental schedule on your financial statements. Sureties like to look at this. From my understanding, this goes into their calculations and in terms of discounting receivables greater than 90 days. Don't quote me on it. That's what I've understood as it's not as likely to be collected. So they keep an eye out for this column, especially. So you always want to stay on top of your receivables, and there's no better report than the AR aging summary. So as a very practical application, I recommend you share this, if you don't already, with your project managers or your CFO or your CEO, whoever has the ability to go after your GCs or project owners, because you don't want to see this. Obviously, it does happen, as you can have some conversation back and forth of yes, they owe you that, no, they don't. There may be some disputes, so on and so forth, but you want to see most of the activity here in this current 1 to 30 or 3160. I'm sure with everything going on now, it's probably in this 3160 range, but good way to keep it from getting out of hand. So this is a very important report, and similar to everything else, you want to make sure this agrees to the trial balance. If you remember, we covered the trial balance in the previous lesson. I mentioned that this should tie back. This should be your ending balance in accounts receivable. So if we open up the trial balance here, go to accounts receivable, see that 528152, 528152. That's a perfect match down to the penny. Does it always work that way? Absolutely not. This may be more or may be less. Typically, it'll be more. And what that means is there were entries directly to the account without running it through the subledger. What that means is you may not have recorded it to a specific customer. You just recorded it in the general ledger to the account. You credited accounts receivable and you debited, maybe bad debt, and you didn't assign it a specific label. So if you don't do that, it's not going to add itself to this report. So you want to keep that in mind when you're recording journal entries or anything for that matter to accounts receivable. Best practice is to run everything through the subledger and keep it as neat as possible so it doesn't get out of hand. So very important report. And that's it for this lesson. So I'll see you in the next one.